So hey guys, how's it going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today in this video we are going to make something useful for the people of our nation. So actually you may all know that nowadays we are suffering from COVID-19. We are in a great crisis. So I did something useful. So what does this do? You can read it out here. Find vaccination centers near you. So what does this project do? It makes an call for the API and gets the data from a particular pin code whether any vaccination centers are available in there or not. So let me show you an example. So let me enter a pin code here, 110001. This is the pin code of New Delhi and some area there. So if I press enter, you see I get an information here. You see GB Pant Hospital DH Site 2, GLN Mark Delhi, New Delhi, this one, and all this information, vaccine name, date of vaccination, that is today itself, and minimum age limit, available capacity, block name, not applicable, Central Delhi district name, and you can see available slots, the slots which are available for vaccination. And if I do something else, if I do 5, you see we have some other information also. It's also Central Delhi, and you can see some more information here. It will show all the available vaccination centers in this particular region. So if I press enter, then also it is giving me the data, and if I am clicking on the search box, then too it will give me the data. So but if I enter something wrong, and it will show you an error. And if the data regarding some particular pin code is not available, let me show you something like this, and you see no data found here. So we are actually going to build this. It is completely responsive because common people cannot afford a PC to view the website, so we are making it completely responsive. So let me show its responsiveness to you first of all. So you can see it's completely responsive. And if you show you it with some random mobiles, say iPhone X, and here if I search this again, you see no data found up here. But let me add something like 110005 back again, and you see this vaccine information. Why one? I have added two, but in mobile view what happens is I have given it a sliding feature. So I will show you everything in detail about the sliding feature and all. In PC it comes like straight, but in mobile it becomes a sliding feature. So we are going to work on it, so don't actually worry about it. So in the previous video also I made an API video only, in which we are making an weather API, and some of my friends said that the video is becoming too long. So this time I will definitely try to make short. So first of all, let's have an overview on the API, which is the most important part. So first of all, I will search here API Setu, and here in this link you have to go, and after that you can go to this API directory to get all the APIs which are public. And here I can search for vaccine, and here you can see COVID application APIs. So I will go to it, and then you can see some APIs here. This is generation of OTP and all this, but we are making a completely front end part of this project. We are only using front end technologies like JavaScript and all that. We are not using any backend, so we are not generating any OTP or confirmation of any OTP. So we will just use some basic API. So I have used this one, which is B2 appointment essential find by pin. So it will find the vaccination centers by pin, and if you have something else, the other one, this is find by district, and you can use this one also if you have district IDs and all these things. So I'll click on get, and then if I click on this try it out button, then execute, so it will give me this link. And if I add this link in my new tab, so you can see it is showing sessions to be empty. Why so? Because the date is wrong. We need the date today, which is 11/5/2021. So let me do that, 11/05/2021, and if I enter, you see the data is coming up. Now actually we need to work with it. This API doesn't need any of the API keys or something. It's completely public. I mean, it's completely free, anyone can use it. Okay, that's good. Now it's time to show our skills. How can we help the people? So let's start making it. So let me close this, and let it be for exampling. Okay, so let it be. So this is something we have to make right now. So first of all, let me make it half screen, and then this one. Good. And let me just open this index.html file. I have already created some files for this project, and let me just open it with live server so that we can continuously work on it. Okay, good. Now let me just make a dev.cards where the cards will come, but we can work on the HTML part later on. So first of all, let's work on JS file, and let me open my console so that it becomes easier for us. Okay, good. Now this is our console, and we can work with our JavaScript first of all. So what am I going to do? So first of all, we need to get the data, right? So let me define a function for it. Function, let's say COVID data, good. And then I'm just passing in the function. So let me create the URL variable first. So I'll say let URL, and we will just copy that URL which we recently used. Okay, I have mistakenly closed it. Let me just go to my history and dig it out, and this is the URL actually. Let me copy it up, and that's it. And if I save, and okay, it's saved now. So what we have to do now, we need to make an XML HTTP request. So I'll say const xhr equals new XML HTTP request. Okay, now we need to do xhr.open, and we have to make an get request. Cool, right? And then we have to pass in the URL, and then give a parameter as true. Great. And then we have to say xhr.send. I have also made the previous video related to and similar to this one also. So if you are interested in learning Ajax from beginning, or if you have not watched my previous video, just have a brief look on it. Just skip it and just watch and fast forward, and you will understand these terms and all these things. Okay, so let me just turn on an xhr.onload, or define an xhr.onload function through which we are getting the data. Absolutely. So I will say xhr.onload equals a function with no parameters, right? And I will define, say, if this dot status, if the status is 200, do something else, alert some error occurred. That's it. And so that's it. And after this, what we are going to do is we actually need to get the data. So let me say let data is equals this dot response text, so this is our data. We actually need to parse it, so let me just initially parse it in single line of code. So let's say JSON dot parse, and then this, let's pass it, so it is already passed for us. And after this, just say log data. That's it. Now let's call the function. Let's say COVID data, and let me call it. And so you see that we have data here. So this is it, center ID, name, and all these things. We have all these things, but actually we don't need everything here, because people know that the fee type is free only because government is providing its fee is 0. So why do we need that? We don't need it. So I'm just going some the basic info which is needed for us. So right, so now what am I going to do? I will be pushing the related information from each of the centers into an array, and then I will be rendering that particular array into my HTML, right? So this time, first of all, I have to check that, okay, let me just paste this once into the my browser so that I could explain it much better. So here, what am I actually going to do? This is sessions, right? Completely sessions. So currently we have only single center given to us. If I change the pin code here, let me do it once. If I change it to 005, I should get more, so that's good now. So we have to render information from each of these centers into our HTML. So that's what we have to do. But before that, you see that sometimes this sessions is empty because we don't have information from that particular pin code. Sometimes your area's pin code or vaccination centers in your area are not registered with the API. So there are some chances that you may not get the vaccination centers in your area. So that's possible. So we need to actually work on that. So let me remove this console first, and then what am I going to do? I am going to give a condition through which it says whether this is empty or not. Work for this. Okay, so let me create some space there. Okay, now what I will say, if data from that data dot sessions not equals an empty array. If it's not an empty array, then perform some function, and this will be our thing which has to be performed. But if the data is not there, what do you actually do is make an alert that data not found. Say data not found. That's it, nothing else than that. Or you can say anything you wish. So data not found, no data found, it's completely your choice. Then actually what we need to do, we need to push the important information into an array through which we can render the data, right? So first of all, let's make an array for our information, or yes, let's do that first of all. So I will be making an array which will be called as centers. Okay, let's say centers. This will consist of information regarding different centers. Let's make it an empty array. Then what I will be doing is we have to get the accurate date in this link. This date should be today's date. If you add yesterday's date, it's not gonna work, because what will we do with yesterday's date? We don't actually need it. We need only today's date. So that's what I need to do. So I have to add something called today here, so that we get today's date here. So let me define some variables first of all. One will be today, then we will be having d for day, and then m for month, and then y for year. Absolutely. So I'll say today equals new date. This will be a new date. So let me define it. Okay, good. And then I'm saying that d is today dot get date. Okay, this function is defined, and after that we have m equals today dot get month plus 1. Now why you will be thinking that why am I doing plus 1? It's because it's some error with JavaScript's inbuilt codes. So get month returns the previous month, not accurately this month. So that's why you need to do get month. If you have watched my video, the age calculator video, in that also I have done the same thing. Okay, then if I do year, I need to get the year. So today dot full year full year, we get the data. Now we actually need to make it into a date format, just like this one. So let's do that. So I will just turn today into that. So today equals a backtext, and then we have dollar sign in which we have d, then a dash, then again a dollar sign in which we have m, and then again a dash, a dollar sign in which we have our year. So that's it. And now we actually need to pass the today up here. So let me do that. Today, not like this, and here we have to pass today. Good. And now this should work as before. So let me log here something like I got the data. Okay, so let me just do this, and where's my vaccine? And you see I got the data, so it's working all fine. Okay, that's good. And after this, what we actually need to do is this part is completed. Then we need to add this data which we are getting from the API to the centers array, right? So let us do that. So in here I will go and create some space so that it looks a bit cleaner. And what am I going to do? Let me show you. So I will say data dot sessions. From that sessions, what you do, create a map function for all the elements in that session. Create a map function in which I am getting the element and then its index also. So that's it. That's our map function is ready to use, and now we have to use it. Now what I will do, I will create a new array, say center info, center information, say it is an array. And what am I going to do? I'm going to pass some elements to it. So the first one will be element dot name. From that particular element, give me the name, this one. So I'm taking that name, and after that give me the address, this one. Where is it? Okay, this one, address. And after it we need e.vaccine, the vaccine name, and then we need absolutely e.date, and then we need the min age limit, the minimum age limit to get the vaccines. That's it, I hope so. Yes, it's that only. So then we have available capacity, available, okay, some spelling mistake I guess. Okay, let's have a look. First of all, available capacity, and after that we have this block name, block name, and then we have district name, good. And then the last one is we need to get the slots also. Slots is also a very important thing, so we need to get it also. So that's our array. Now we actually need to get the data from it. And after this, if I say log me the center info, if I say log me the center info, it should log everything perfectly, and we get our information right up here. So we have this thing, kind of this, and then we have actually 4 arrays in here, right? This is the slot, and this is all the information we actually need. Good, this part is good. We have done the getting data part, and then we need to push this data into our centers, right? So it's basic. So centers dot push. What do we actually need to push? We need to push this center info into it. Okay, fine. So we actually push this center info, and at last we will also console it, so don't worry about that. And after this, what we actually need to do is nothing. We actually need to just render this into our HTML, which is not a very hard task. So I will first of all copy the things which I have to render, and then I will explain it in detail so that it becomes much easier for you to understand. So guys, now I have actually copied this from my project which I made here, and I have showed it you from its source code. I have copied this, and now let me show this. So what actually happens here is I created dev.card, so it would be much better if I show you like here 110005, and you can see now. So I have created this element, this box completely in with this HTML code. So I have defined a variable, say let a variable name, say code. This is our code which we have to pass in. So I've actually created a development. In that development I have an h1. This is that h1 in which I have span, say category. This will be the category name, the center name, and then I have this info, centers that particular elements, this info. I'm having this info. So how is this info coming to me? So in that centers array we have passed all the information. So this one array, this one array, this one array. So we need to render each of these arrays one by one, not all of them at a single time. So we have to get them one by one. So first of all, if this is 0, first of all we will get the element at the 0 index. So that's it, right? So first of all, what happens is after each of the one element is pushed, what we will do, the first, okay, let me explain you very clearly, step by step. So data.sessions.map, let's say we have this information only. So first of all, I'm getting this element. So this is the first e, and we have its index, which is 0 for now. Then I'm creating an array, say center info, and I'm taking all the element from this one, and then I am pushing that into my centers array. Then from that centers array, the first element, that is I for now, and it's 0. It's 0 means from the first element of centers, give me the element at the index 0. That's what is happening here. So again, in this, from the centers first element, give me the second element, right? So the second element, which is e dot address, and similarly we are getting all the data. And after once this is rendered, again run this function, because e dot map, the number of elements, the number of times this function runs. That's what data.sessions.map does. After this, let me explain you the other HTML code. So we have this h1, and after this we have inner card. What is inner card? This green part completely is our inner card. Then in this inner card we have h3, not h1, and in this also we have category, which is center address, vaccine name, date of vaccination, minimum age limit, available capacity, and all these things. And in these we are rendering this information line by line, which have taken into this array. That's it, nothing much complex in here, and that's it. And the last important thing is, in this available slots, you can see that the slots will be coming in an array. So it will be coming in array, but I don't actually want them in array. I want them to be separated by this single line. I want them to be separated with this single line. So what am I going to do? I'm getting that slots, and in that slot absolutely it's an array, and after that I am joining them with this, nothing else than that. I'm joining them with this. Okay, good. Now actually see whether it's working or not. So where's my vaccine? Good. And to let it work, we need to dot inner HTML. So where will be inner HTML, that particular thing? We have to do it in some particular div. So I have to create one div. Say div dot cards, absolutely. So that's it. We have created the div dot cards, and after that I need to get that card. So I'll say const cards equals document dot query selector. I'll say dot cards. So we got that cards, and after this div we need to inner HTML it. Cards dot inner HTML plus equals to code. So we did this much. So let us test it once. If I hit save, we are getting the data, guys. We are getting the data and rendered into an HTML also. So the most important part, we are successfully have done it. We have successfully done it. But there is an error. You will understand that error when I will give it the search function, then you will understand that error. So let me give that search functionality first of all. So for that we actually need an input element, right guys? So let's create an input element. So I'll go to index.html. So let's say div dot search box. Let's say div dot search box, and in this search box we are having an input element. And now in this input element we have to add a placeholder. Say let's the placeholder be enter your area pin code. Okay, and after that I am up here, and you see an input element right here. Then we actually need to create a button. So let me create a button. In it, say button with an image into it, with an source which I've been here. Okay, so let me just get this URL and then just simply paste it in the source, and then in this alt I will give search. That's it. The image is very big in size. Currently we will be styling it with CSS later on, but for now I will leave it as it is. Okay, and after that we actually need to run the add event listener on click for this button and get the data from that input element and then pass it to the API URL, right? So let us go to it. I will go to the dot search box, and what I will be doing is I will be selecting these elements first of all, right guys? That's a common thing. So first of all I will get that search button, this button. I will take first of all this one. So how to do that? Just defining a variable, nothing much. I'll say search btn equals document dot query selector. In this query selector we need to select the dot search box, dot search box. Okay, that's cool. And from this dot search box we have to get the button. So dot query selector, say button. That's it. So we now got this button, and we actually need to add an input event listener, and we actually need to get that data also from that input element. So let's do one thing. Right, so first of all let me go till the end, and from the end I will be calling this, but let me use this first of all so that I remove the data. So now there is no data up here, so now we have to actually work with it. So I'll get the element now, the input element. So I'll say input equals document dot query selector, and then this query selector we need to actually have input, this input element. So to get it with an ID I just actually need to give an ID to it. So let me just give it an ID, say input. That's it. Now this is our input element. Now actually we need to add search btn dot add event listener, so let's say click is an arrow function, and in this arrow function I'll say let a variable say pincode is input dot value, input dot value, and now let me tell you something. If I add this variable outside, then what actually happens is it will stay as an empty string, because there would be no value when this JavaScript file is called. But when I add it in the search button's add event listener click, then what happens? It will take this value when this button is clicked. Okay, then there will be some value, and then I will click on this button, then it will take this particular value. But else, if I define it outer side, it will be empty string. Then I will say cards dot inner HTML to be none as I click on this button. I will tell you about this error later on so that you may understand it a well better. And now I will say some basic if else conditions. If the pin code is empty, if there is nothing in that pin code, just say an alert which says enter a pin code, enter pin code in the search box, enter pin code in the search box. That's what we actually need to add. And after that we have one more, that is if else if pin code, not equals something like say, if it's not equals empty, then what you do, just run the function that is govt data with this particular pin code. Now as we are passing in the pin code from here, we actually also need to get that into our function. So how do we actually do it? We need to pass a parameter and then add that parameter to our URL. Nothing much than that, so it's very easy. So I am taking the pin code up here, let's say pin code, and in this and I am passing this pin code, not pn code, up here. So let me just remove this part and say dollar curly brackets and the pin code in here. And now our function should be working perfectly fine. Let me have a look into it, guys. So I'm entering some data here, 110001. Okay, if I click on it, I'm getting the data. So just remember this, it is GB Panth Hospital DH site 2, and now I am changing it and calling this function again. Now you see it is there only, it's not going, but the rest of the data is coming below it. I don't actually want that. I want on click this data should be gone and then this new data should come. So that's why this function is there. Now if I do the same thing, 110001, and hit this one, you see once the data is coming, remember this back again, GB Panth Hospital DH site 2, then I'm adding 5 here and then again clicking on it. You see that GB Panth Hospital DH site 2 is there, but the rest of the data is actually coming perfectly. This is an error in that, but actually let me do something else. If I do now, just take a look by this. Okay, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. We have 3 only, we have 3 datas, but if I change it to 1, it will become 1 only. Now we don't have 3, so you can understand with this that it is actually changing. But why wasn't it changing when I change it? Actually because this site is related to both of those particular places, that's the reason it was not actually changing. The pin code was very close to each other, so that's the reason. Now we actually think that I have completed the work with complete JavaScript, but one thing is left, guys. One thing is left. What is it? I am too lazy to click on the search button again and again. In here I have it here, I have to take my mouse from here to here, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to give an input functionality. If I press enter, it should run the same function again, right? So let's define the function below it. I will say input dot add event listener, say a key press, then after this I have this one, an arrow function up there. Good. And after this we need to specify the key code of what? The enter key, which is 13 absolutely. So if E, so what is that E? We have to take the element which we are pressing, so the key which we are pressing, then E dot which equals 13. If it's the enter key, then run the same function again. Nothing else than that. Control C. Or what you can actually do to make it short is, let me show that to you. Let me explain it actually, because I'm not going to change this code. What you can do is you can add this particular code to a single function, say my function. I've added that, and what I will do, instead of this, I will remove it and I will replace it with my function. That's it, and I will call this function. Nothing else than that. And that's how you can just add it once and call that particular function twice in both of them, so that you can get call it as you want. So now it will also work with the enter. So I'll say 110005, enter. It's working all right. Now the main part is CSS. So guys, the video is becoming long and I don't want to waste your time, and I know CSS is boring because we need to just do that again and again and again and again and again. So what I already written all the CSS up here, just need to implement in this HTML, and then I will explain you each of the elements one by one, so that no much time is wasted and you understand each and everything much clear. So where's my vaccine? I did a mistake here. Okay, now it's good. If I save it now, it's where's my vaccine. Good, that looks great. And let's link the CSS first here. So link CSS style.css. I've already that particular CSS up here, but before adding the CSS, I actually want to add this image which just tells about this project. Actually, I have added no styling, no logos, no nothing here because I was developing it very fastly. I just made this complete project by thinking, also by styling and everything, in around 2 hours. So that's why I didn't did much to it, because it's for the people, not for my sake. I have made this and I thought of it to make it for the sake of Indians. That's it, to help Indians get everything used out of it. So that's it, nothing else. So let us add that particular thing into our HTML. So what is it? We will just say a div.opening. This is the opening development, and in this I will have a image, right? An image. So let's say image source, the particular, I have already have my image up here. Let's say and all something vaccine, something vaccine. Okay, that's it. Vaccine, take your vaccine. Okay, take your vaccine. That's it. And I will say something like an H3 here, an H3, and in this H3 I will have some data, that is this one. Find vaccination centers near you. Come to me, boy. Control C and then paste it here. That's everything we actually need to do, and it looks something like this now. And if I say here, you see find vaccination centers near you, we get this image, we have everything. We actually need to implement the style sheet now. If I save it now, you see it's styled, but one thing is absolutely not happened here, that is the styling of this particular thing. One, just actually I did a mistake, I didn't saw that. Sorry for wasting your time in this, forgive me for that, guys. It's actually H1. Where is what's happening here? 462030, no data found. So okay, no data found, this thing is not actually working. So 462030, no data found. So okay, no data found is not coming here, we have to check for it, guys. Some mistake is up here. So no data found should be working fine, but no, it's not working. Data not found, it should come actually, but I don't, but it's not coming. I have to take a look at it. So yes, actually it's not working with this else condition. So we need to add some other if condition, because it's an API, it's definitely returning some sessions towards that's why it's not actually working. Let me just control X this, and I will define one more if condition for it, which will actually work. So I'll say data.sessions.length. This time I will be working with sessions length. If it's 0, if there is no element, just add it. And now this time it should work. 462030, enter, and no data not found. So that's, now it's working. So guys, now as this video is becoming very long, I have done one thing. So I have given the link to the source code in the description to my GitHub repo, and you can check out the SCSS and CSS files right there for the source, for the code and how I did this. But if you have some problem or some issues with it, you can definitely contact me right in the comments section, or you can contact me personally through mails or something. It's completely your wish, or you can contact me either through Instagram. It's completely your wish. So I made this, you can use it, your friends can use it, your relatives can use it, and as usual Indians can use it. So it is something useful for Indians. Now let me tell you something which is useful for you also. So I went to API Setu again, API directory. If you want to brush up your skills regarding Ajax and fetching APIs, you can use government APIs if you are an Indian for free, which is completely public and useful also. These projects, your projects using these APIs will give you more value from the government also, and it will give actually more value to you guys, and that's why this project is actually useful for people and us also. So I hope you guys liked this video and got to learn something new from it. That's it for this video, and make sure to subscribe because it will help me to boost you and your skills. The end.